Okay, so the first disc controller for the Coco was the 263022, released in 1981 and sold with the silver upright Tandy Radio Shack TRS-80 disc drives. We'll have a quick look inside one here. So these are an analog design. They have 3 potentiometers here, a WD-1793 floppy disk controller, which is both 5 volts and 12 volts. So this controller will only work with the Color Computer 1, which has 12 and 5 volts in it. Subsequent machines like the Coco 2 and 3 only have 5 volts in them. So this one won't work on a Coco 2 or 3 unless you have a multi-pack interface, and then it'll work. It has a reputation as being an unreliable controller, though in my experience it's really just the connectors which get oxidized, and once they're clean these controllers actually work pretty well. It's quite similar actually to the TRS-80 Model 3 disc controller. As you can see, they're quite a similar design. Still has the 3 potentiometers, the WD-1793, similar number of chips, no ROM chip on the Model 3 one. In the Model 3 computer these are extremely reliable. Makes me think that the reputation of these ones is mainly due to people getting oxidized connectors and fiddling with these potentiometers. On a Model 3 these are hidden deep inside the computer. It's hard to get to and is rarely touched. It's actually an extremely reliable controller in the Model 3. So that's the Type 1 disc controller 3022 for the Coco 1. Okay, the second type of disc controller for the Color Computer is a 263029. It was sold with an upright Tandy Radio Shack white disc drive. The disc drive itself was made by Tandy and was somewhat more reliable than the grey disc drives on the Coco one. So let's have a quick look inside it. As you can see, the 3 potentiometers that were here are gone. We have a digital lock loop here, which promotes much greater reliability, and we've got a 5 volt only disc controller chip here. We've still got disc extended basic ROM here. Still got solder covered edge connectors which have a potential to oxidize, but it's a 5 volt only disc controller, and I've found these to be extremely reliable. Keep the connectors clean and they work well. And in fact, like the disc controller Type 1 from before, it seems to be based quite a lot on the TRS-80 Model 4 disc controller. Just has the 5 volt disc controller chip here, the digital lock loop, same number of components, no extended basic ROM, and these ones in TRS-80 Model 4 computers, again like the Model 3 controller, an extremely reliable controller. So for most people, what I recommend to them when they're building up Coco systems, the earliest one to look for is the 263029. It's a great FDC for your Coco. And finally we get to the last, what I call Type 3 controllers. These are probably the best controllers, and in particular this one, which I'll get to in a moment, is the best Color Computer controller from Radio Shack. So we have here the 263129, then we have the FD500 and the FD501. All of them are use a new generation of WD-1773 disc controller. They've still got the extended basic ROM. Very few support components compared to earlier designs, and less components means less things to go wrong. These ones have solder covered connectors, and in the case of the FD501, the only one with gold coated connectors, so no oxidization problems with the FD501 controllers. If you're building the most reliable system, the FD501's the one to go for. Tandy did make one more disc controller after this one, FD502. It looks essentially the same. Inside it is exactly the same, except they've gone back for cheaper solder covered connectors on the FD502. But essentially it's the same controller as this in the smaller case. So this one is the one to go for. All of these controllers with clean connectors are extremely reliable and will work with any of the Cocos, but the 501 is particularly sought after. So these were sold by Radio Shack from around 1984 to 5, 85 to 6, and 86 to 7. The 501 and the 502 probably just in the last year, maybe 1988 or so in Australia, with the 502s. There's not many around. So that's my quick tour of colour computer disc controllers. So if you're looking for one and you see one on eBay and you want to know what the differences are, that's them. So I hope you enjoyed watching this, and enjoy the rest of your day.